And we're live. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Hangout. I am your host, BJ Kicks, and this is a show that we do every week. We talk about comics, we do interviews, we do all sorts of stuff. Tonight's show is actually really, really special. I'm really excited about it. I got some special guests. You can see from the title what's going on. We're talking about Milestone. If you've been following this channel for any amount of time, then you know how big of a Milestone fan I am. So I've got some Milestone fans with me, and we're going to review all of these new Milestone Returns titles. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited about that. By the way, if you're watching us live, go ahead and say what's up in the chat so I know you're here. And if you're watching on the replay, I appreciate it. Hopefully you can join us live one of these days. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, with the exception of next week, since that is Thanksgiving. So I'm going to give you guys some time off so you can spend it with your family. I'm going to do the same. Yeah, if you're watching on the replay, I appreciate it. We'll see you in another one very soon. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guests in just a second. Before I do have to give some quick shout outs. So to our channel sponsors, my local comic shop, Ultimate Comics, they've got 4 locations in the Raleigh-Durham area in North Carolina. So you can shop in Raleigh, Durham, Cary, or their newest location at Crabtree Valley Mall. And if you're not local to the area, don't worry. You can shop rare and exclusive variants at ultimatecomics.com. Always dope. And you can shop twice a week. They do a live show on Facebook where you can buy this week's books, a bunch of back issues, rare variants that they've got from their warehouse. It's really fun. And then another shout out to our other channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. They are the best place to go for collected editions. If you're looking for omnibus, hardcovers, trade paperbacks, you can get them from their selection of over 100 in-stock titles, or you can even do pre-orders for books such as this one. The Milestone Compendium is coming out on February 1st, and you can pre-order it at Organic Price Books. It's got a retail price of $59.99, but it's listed on Organic Price Books for $45. And if you use my coupon code BJKicks, you will save $2 on that order and every other order. So $43 including shipping. It's super dope, and that'll get you the first 2 to 3 story arcs of pretty much all the original Milestone titles, and it takes you through the Shadow War crossover. So really cool. We'll probably be talking about that here in a second. But now it's time for me to go ahead and introduce my guests. I've got some people here from the Milestone Comics fan group on Facebook. There's like over 3,000 of us in this group. But I found some of the most dedicated fans. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with the guy that brought us all together, Mr. Bar Small. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot. So you want to introduce yourself, tell the people who you are?
Sure. Full name's Barry. I've been a fan for Milestone since day one. Mm-hmm. So used to go to the comic store, grab some loose change and buy the comic books. Been a fan since then, and I followed, the whole Static Shock series, the DC, iteration, New 52, and then I felt all of it for a while. I met my boy Evan, and he's like, "Hey, there's this Milestone fan group, we should join," and here I am.
Nice. So it's not Bar, it's Bear then.
Yeah.
My bad, dude.
No, the Bar, Barry, whatever you want to call it. You can go with everything.
Got you. So we've also got my man Ryan here from the Comic Lounge. What's up, dude?
What's up, guys? What's up? Happy to be here. My name's Ryan. Like BJ said, I run the Comic Lounge, do interviews, review comics. Been a Milestone fan. Not from the get-go, but I think I discovered it actually through the crossover that it did with DC, the Worlds Collide, fan of Static Shock, loving the current stuff, and just happy to be here with you guys talking Milestone.
Word. So I think I am officially the newest fan, right? So I didn't even start reading comics till 2019. I remember watching the Static Shock animated show, like as it was coming out, because black kid, and I remember the Static Shock cartoon, And just kind of getting into comics, I knew that Static was a comic book, but I didn't realize there was like a whole universe. And so I think what got me interested was there was some kind of rumblings about a Static Shock movie. And so I was like, oh, let me try to get the Static comics. And the Static comics were just way up there on eBay price wise. And so I was like, well, there's all these other titles. Let me grab some others. So I grabbed a couple issues of Icon, a couple issues of Blood Syndicate, a few hardwares. But the first one I read was Blood Syndicate. And I was like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, I had not read anything like it up until that point. And I always tell people, like, you know, a lot of times when you're reading comics, people will be like, okay, you pick up this book and you're like, okay, this writer really gets that character. It's a perfect iteration of that character and so on. Right. So I read Blood Syndicate, the first 2 issues, and then I finally got my hands on a Static #1. I read that. And then I read Icon #1. And I was like, yo, like, these books are written as if the guy knows me. Like, these people, a lot of these characters speak in a voice that I'm familiar with. Like, they sound like people I grew up with. It's just dope. So, yeah, that's how I got into Milestone. And that was like late 2019. And here we are a year later.
I think you probably have more Milestone than I do, though. Because I've been watching, like, you've been hunting these fucking comic books down. Like, for me, it's like I had a select few growing up, right? Static was the one I had the most of. And then Hardware, I always really liked. I mean, Dennis, drew it. So, and being such a huge fan of his work. And then, obviously Dwayne McDuffie, rest in peace. I think that just what they did, like you said, like it spoke to you. To me, It's like those comic books felt more grounded than anything else being published at the time from the big 2. And even the coloring, dude. I mean, I don't think people talk enough about it. The coloring in early Milestone was better than any fucking comic book being published. I have to say that. I need to shout out the colors, I mean, it's the tones that they got, it's just the production value on their books was so far, like, I mean, DC was publishing them, but like it looked better than anything DC proper was putting out,
Right. And of course, like, having the benefit of, getting into this stuff 20 years later, I've got all the wealth of knowledge of the internet, right? So I can figure, okay, well, who did this and who did that? And so researching like the process, this is an issue of Cobalt. This is one of the latest books I've been hunting down. I need like 6 more issues.
I've got the full run, man.
Word. I'm missing 11 through 16. But look at these colors. And I think Noelle.
Yep.
Yeah, Noelle
does these. Well, she doesn't do the colors on this issue.
Her last name's Giddings, right?
Noelle Giddings, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome, dude.
But Noelle was the color editor for Milestone, for all the early Milestone. And she basically was doing like watercolor paints on comic book board. Like, no one else was doing that. No. And when you look at other books, this one was published in 1994. When you look at other books from that time period, the colors are like just nowhere near this good.
No.
I remember back then, though, they were getting a lot of flack for their pages and the colors.
Yeah, well, I mean, so these are printed on newsprint. The colors do kind of present a little dark. Like if you can read these all digitally now, and it's a lot brighter, and you can really kind of take in the full effect. But I mean, my issue or my copy of Blood Syndicate #1, there is some stuff that's like hard to make out compared to like the latest issue of X-Men at the time.
I still prefer those colors. I still prefer that.
Yeah. Once
what I mean?
They moved to the Milestone 100 paper, right? Like I feel like that's where it really shines. They get it on that glossy paper off the muddy newsprint, and then you can really see what goes into it.
I don't know. I love newsprint, so I'm just very old school in that sense. Like maybe not in age, but I love newsprint. I love the smell of the paper. I love the tactileness of it. To me, sometimes when they take these old stories and use the old coloring, I haven't seen Milestone on reprinted with like the current technology. We'll see with the compendium, obviously, but sometimes you look at these old comics being republished and represented, and it's on this very bright white paper, right? And because it was originally colored based on it being a newsprint, right? Like it's not the same. It just doesn't. It looks too bright to the point where it hurts your eyes. At least for me, it's just super bright. Especially like you said, like the X-Men from the 90s. If you look at that reproduced now, it's, I mean, my God, it just doesn't. It looks too bright to me. It doesn't. It doesn't have the like that. Like I said, the colors were coloring based on the paper stock that it was going to be printed on. And I hope that they reproduce the Milestone stuff good. I think that, it's, like they're watching over, like Dennis and Reggie are definitely like watching over, making sure that the quality is going to be good. So I'm not super worried about that, but it'll be interesting to see what it looks like for sure.
Word. Yeah, this is like the Mothership Connection. I think this was reprinted like 09-ish.
Yeah, I think like 2010 or something like that.
Yeah. And when they reprinted it on newsprint. Now, the other thing is I'm reading these books 20 years, 30 years after they came out. So me saying the newsprint is muddy, it could just be mine or old. The papers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Colors are kind of weird. But this stuff is dope.
It is.
Let's see. I'm not used to having so many guests. I have to like acknowledge the fact that we do have people here in the chat. Ben Uncle says, make sure you static shock that like button. My man Danny from Fourth Wall Comics is here. What's going on, dude? Looks like there's a lot of people wanting to know how to tag people in the comics or comments. But what's up, you trucking nerd? And C Rook. A lot of the regulars here.
Old comic smells amazing to me. I love
Right. So I'm curious to know, because like I said, I kind of have the benefit of not really knowing about Milestone until like late 2019, early 2020, and really just buying a bunch of stuff on eBay over the course of a year. And then all of a sudden, Milestone's back, right? But for you guys who, were pretty much down from the beginning, there's a huge gap between, 97 when everything kind of went under and this year when Milestone returned. What was that wait like for you guys?
Okay. So for me, like I said, I was in university, hanging in the comic stores, just trying to buy my back issues. I think around then I discovered the Rebirth of the Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Read that. It's like, okay, it's nice, but then it went dry. And honestly, there was nothing. It was like there was that gap, as you said, big pause until they did the merger with when the Justice League fought against the Shadow Cabinet. So we had the Icon showing up, and those 3 issues, I believe, it felt like my friends were coming home. So
like this one,
yes, that one. That was the issue. I wasn't really a big fan of what they did with Static when they brought him back in the Terror Titans storyline, or even in Teen Titans. I felt so waste of a character.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I had him on print, so I couldn't complain.
Mm.
Yeah, I think for me, Barry, you read it earlier than I did. I think you got into the Milestone. You reset from the day one. Not having Milestone felt wrong. I think there was a huge gap in terms of obviously you can do kind of whatever the fuck you want, right? Like in terms of content, in terms of the types of stories you're talking about, like the real world issues that take place in the Dakotaverse, right? Like we weren't seeing that taking place in Marvel and DC. So I felt like there was such a huge gap. And as I said, I interview creators, I've interviewed Dennis Cowan multiple times. And my question to him always, one of the first ones, well, when is it coming back? When are you guys going to just get it done? And obviously there's, legality issues, right? It wasn't just one person that started. It wasn't 2. There's 4 people that co-founded. And, Dwayne McDuffie, rest in peace, is not around anymore. And, I'm sure there's stuff that they are not even going to tell us of why it didn't come back, but it definitely felt like there was a glaring hole. And Dennis came into the shop right after, the Milestone Returns special came out, right? Mm-hmm. And he said one of the biggest advocates for bringing it back was Jim Lee. And I was I don't want to say I was shocked, but I still was a little bit surprised because I'm like, what is taking so long? Like, really, what are you guys doing at DC that you have these great characters with so much talent behind all those titles and you're just ignoring it? You're just letting it just kind of be wasted. Right. And to find out that Jim Lee like just kept fighting and fighting, and this, it gave me a little bit newfound respect for him because like I kind of thought he was like the publisher that was just like in name only. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to talk shit, but like that's kind of what I thought. Like, oh, he's an artist, but he's just publisher in name. It's just he's a figurehead. But to finally get it back after all these years and to come out so strong with so much talent, like Nicholas Draper Ivey. Yeah, I didn't know his name before this. Right, he is one of the dopest artists in comic books. Yeah. He has such an energy to his art that, I mean, I was instantly a fan. When I saw the design work for Static, I'm like, dude, hell yeah. Like well, you asked how it was like waiting for so long, but it sucked as a comic book fan to see characters not be utilized. But we'll see like 12 Batman titles. We'll see 10 Spider-Man titles. Like, but what about the other characters that are more interesting? What about those fans? And like finally, Milestone's back, and not being in print was, I think, another problem, right? Like you couldn't create new fans because it was so hard to find. They didn't have the trades. There's no Static trades in print. There's no Icon trades in print. Nothing is in print until this compendium comes out. So
that's true. So yeah, it was for me kind of immersing myself in this whole universe. I'm like, wow, this stuff. I was kind of content to read the old stuff because even 30 years later, it felt just way more down to earth than like anything else I was reading. There's stuff that they did in those original books that still has not been touched to this day.
No, not even close.
Right. And I mean, we're going to kind of get into some comparisons at some point. But yeah, like, so I was fine just reading the original books, but I certainly saw a lot of like, the start and the stops and, okay, this name is attached and now this name is not attached, right? Like there was supposed to be like a whole Kyle Baker graphic novel that, hadn't materialized as of yet. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff teased, I think going back to like 2015. And then, they announced it last year and they were like, all right, Milestone's going to come back in February. And then like most of February came and went without an announcement. Like, and then all of a sudden they're like, all right, Milestone returns, it's coming out in May. And it's like, oh, it's here. So let's go ahead and get into these kind of reviews in earnest because I know Ryan's got to go.
Hey, hold on. I want to say something real quick. You know what's funny is remember how they said it was going to be digital only?
Yeah.
First?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, Dennis came in. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why were you guys going to do digital only? Like, there's people that wanted it in print. He's like, oh, they listened to the fans. They heard you guys, And I was like, because he talks about the group too. So I just think it's interesting that the fans had enough power behind them saying, no, we want this in shops. We want to see it in print that it happened. I think that's awesome. I just had to say that real quick.
Because it was like they were gonna go to print, but it was gonna be like digital for like a 3-month window or something. Yeah. And then they switched it and was like, you know what? It's gonna be day and date digital. We're just gonna have to push back the print release. It's all good. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that was insane because I remember being in the group and everybody's like, oh, it's just digital. They must not want my money, blah, blah,
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But yeah, they were going to do digital first for a while. And then they were like, all right, let's retool. Let's get this printed. Let's put it on FOC. Let the shops order it. Because the retailers were upset too.
Oh, dude. Yeah. My manager was like, what the hell, dude? Like, we can't sell digital comics. Like, the whole point of a comic book shop is turning people onto stuff. How can I turn you onto something like, hey, you should read this, but you can't get it here? Like that's... Right. I think that limited the new readership and the new fans. Like I hand sold every single number one that it came out. I was like, you have to buy this. You have to buy this. Like if you like good books, you better pick this book up. I guess if you're not buying, you don't like good books. Like that's what I was telling people. So I would like force people to buy it. But I mean, our subs are pretty decent for the Milestone stuff compared to like some of the other titles. So I think that it was a smart move that they did day and date release for that.
Absolutely. So the first book we got out of this whole deal was this. This is the Milestone Returns Zero issue, the Infinite Edition. So, of course, that's right. They released this digitally during DC Fandome for like 24 hours, and then it disappeared. But the Infinite Edition has like pages added. There's some art that's completely different. Like, I think when they did this, the digital part that was here, Nick Draper Ivy wasn't even attached yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would love to hear what you guys thought of not having Milestone around for like 15 years. How did you feel about this return to the Dakota universe?
Okay, so for me, it was, again, great to have it back. Great to see my family back. A little sad because not everyone was there, but still it was, they were static. There's Icon, there's Rocket, and some new faces. So it's like, okay, I can get behind this. Not a big fan of the costume of Icon there, but it was still a step in the right direction.
Word. I'm going to share my screen so that some of these viewers can actually see this artwork that we talk about.
Okay.
So this is the Milestone Returns Infinite Edition Zero issue. And right off the bat, we've got pages by Nick Draper Ivy that were not in the original digital issue. And, spoiler alert, this is a brand new version of the Milestone universe. Like, this is not picking up where the original titles left off. So in some aspects, we are getting like complete retellings. And in others, we're getting like reimaginings of events from the original series. So if you're a brand new reader, if you've not read any Milestone comics before, this is the starting point. This is how you're going to understand all the newer series. This one is kind of a compilation of a bunch of different writers and artists. So this is the hardware issue, art by Dennis Cowan here.
Yes, definitely tells art.
That art is just awesome. But yeah, so just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a preview. Let's go back. So the Milestone Returns Infinite Edition, it's basically a zero issue, kind of explaining what the Dakota universe is, giving you like a very brief introduction to all the major players. So you get introduced to Static, Hardware, Icon, and Rocket, and a new character named Duo that we haven't heard anything from since.
Well, it's a new character, really? Or
yeah.
Zombie.
Right. So it seems like a reimagining of Zombie.
Correct.
But
there's two people in one body.
And let's see. But yeah, so we got this return. And so you're like, all right, the Blood Syndicate is noticeably absent, right? I already, for me, my favorite Milestone character is Static, but my favorite book is Blood Syndicate. It's like, I was trying to explain to somebody, I'm like, they're like an amoral X-Men. Like, if the X-Men didn't care if the good guys won, like, that's them. They're literally a gang. And they're not just a gang, they're like an amalgamation of multiple gangs. So there's infighting, and like, they've kind of got this attitude like, well, we're just going to protect our turf. And they're just dope doing it because they all got different powers from the Big Bang and whatnot. So when this issue came out and there was no Blood Syndicate, I was a little disappointed too. I can't even lie. What about you?
I mean, yeah, I think most Milestone fans were upset about it because, like, how do you just launch with 4 books? Like, like, just Blood Syndicate. Why can't you? And I could see kind of maybe DC. I'm not saying they did push back, but I could see if they were the reason, But they also, they like money too, and they see that people want it. So why not just give fans what they want? Like, those characters are so interesting, and I do like that they made it very inclusive. Like you said, it's not continuing from the previous continuity, but you could almost put the original number ones next to the new number ones, and you can see where they just redid scenes.
Yeah.
And not in a way that felt cheap, but felt like, no, we want it to feel familiar to the old fans, but we want to bring in new readers as well. And
Right.
I think that they did an excellent job, because it's so hard to relaunch stuff. I think, especially with like such a huge gap in time, and to appeal to both audiences can be very difficult.
Mhm.
But they did it. I think they did it flawlessly, in my
Right.
opinion.
So overall, your thoughts on the Milestone Returns Infinite Edition? You're like, okay, this is dope. Because
Yeah.
what I saw was a lot of people who were like, "Oh, this is some mid. Like this isn't my milestone." Right? Did you guys feel that way at all?
Yes. I won't lie. Yes, I did. You know what? Again, I grew up. This is my milestone. This is how my style got his origin. This is what I mean. I love Static's original origin.
Yeah.
Like I said, at the time, it spoke to me.
Mhm.
But my friend Paco reminded me, this isn't my time. This is now in this generation's Static. So
Right.
clear that out. Think now. It's like, so you know what? You're right. And it works. It does work. I'm okay with it. My biggest complaint was, I guess, the fact that there was no secret identities.
Yeah, that was weird. That was very off.
Yeah, and that is a thing going because we're gonna get into like the individual series.
Yeah,
and that's definitely something about Static that I was like, okay, that's odd. But yeah, so I think for me going into it like newer, I was like, all right, this is cool, but I mean, I've been collecting a bunch of Milestone. I've only read like the first 2 story arcs of most of these titles. So I was like, okay, this isn't as good as that. I'll just go read the old stuff until there's more material. Right. But I wasn't like down on it. I was just like, it was a teaser. It was a teaser. So again, if you guys, I feel like you could probably pick up the number ones of each of these series. Like, so what spun out of this was Static Season 1, Icon and Rocket Season 1, and then Hardware Season 1. I think you could pick up any of these number 1 issues and be just fine.
Agreed.
But the Milestone Returns kind of does give you a little bit more of a glimpse into origins and backstory. Specifically for Static, I think Static's origin, you need this to kind of understand his state of mind in issue number 1. But yeah, so we got those, and then we got, which one? I think Static came out first. Static Season 1 was the first book out.
And then Icon and Rocket, and then Hardware.
Right. So as of right now, we've gotten 4 issues of Static. Static's written by Vita Ayala. It's got artwork. There's like a tandem. So Chris Cross for the first 4 issues was doing the layouts. And if you know Chris Cross's name, it's from the original Milestone titles, most notably Blood Syndicate. He did work on pretty much every character though. I got an issue of Heroes over here somewhere, and he did that as well. Right. So that's Chris Cross. So he's doing layouts, kind of just rough sketching, putting characters into place where the panels are going to be. And then we got finishes by Nick Draper Ivy, who, if you've not heard of him, I get it because I hadn't heard of him either before this. But man, if he's not on the map now, like if he didn't do every page, like y'all gonna put some respect on my name. Like that's how he came at this series. Like this just looks like a movie.
Yep.
Like it's awesome. Like so it's certainly like manga inspired, anime inspired, but it's just really, really good. But anyway, so how did you guys feel about Static Season 1 so far?
I'm gonna let you go first this one.
All right. I like it. The art is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The story, it could be stronger, I think, if I'm being 100% honest. I think it could be stronger. I think it's a good story. It's not, but maybe, like that's my expectations, right? Like I waited so long and I was like, I cannot wait for this. So I had really, really high expectations in terms of like what we were going to get. But I do think it's a good story. I think it's a good retelling. I do think the lack of secret identity is weird as hell. I think that should have been kept. And I think that in this day and age, like to not have a secret identity, why wouldn't everybody try to just attack him at home, especially being in high school. But other than that, I think like the covers by Kari Randolph, my God, those are fire. I think that the design work that they've done in here is great. I'm excited. I know, and again, this is season 1, right? Like this is just trying to introduce people to the characters. So what are we going to get moving forward? And his ties with hardware, I like that. I think that that's pretty interesting. I love that he incorporated the old school costume back into it. And I have to give a shout out to that Akira homage cover. I mean, that cover is just insanity, dude. I mean, it's so good. So good.
I got one over here somewhere. I'm gonna mess something up by trying to grab it, so I won't. So yeah, Bear, how do you feel about Static season 1 so far?
So for me, I wish, like, imagine every single issue as a 1-hour episode on HBO Max. And that way, yes, it makes sense. It's character development, it's building slowly, it's building a relationship between him and his parents, him and his friends, the mentorship between him and hardware. I get that. But I kind of miss the fast pace, the action scenes. Not saying that I want all action. No, I'm definitely not the type of person. I love a good storyline. But that's the part where I do miss. So I understand it's the first season. Maybe it's written that way to give the fans a chance to get on board, to learn, to catch up, and then the next season might go more, stronger. But so far, it's a great start.
Yeah. So one thing that's a challenge for me, being that I've read so much Milestone over the last year, is separating old Milestone from new Milestone and wanting this to be, as opposed to, season 1, issue 1, like I want this to be Static number 46 in my mind, like in my heart. That's what I want. And I think that's the battle that is being fought. One thing I will say though, because I went and did a retro review of the first 4 issues of Static Shock or Static. They released it as a trade called Static Shock Trial by Fire. And Ryan did a review on his YouTube channel as well, which was really dope. But one thing that I love about those 4 issues is, for one, you get 2 separate stories in those 4 issues, like 2 plots that come in and resolve themselves. And I think at the heart of that trade is who Virgil is, right? Like you get 2 different experiences where he has to decide, like, look, I have this power in my hands. I can use it for good or I can use it for evil. Who am I going to be, right? And so you get him doing that as Virgil, and then you get him doing it again as Static. And I think that is a perfect encapsulation of who the character is, right? Now, since those stories were written, we've had a TV show introducing a bunch of characters and a bunch of mythos. And then, now we've got this new series that has to do the work of incorporating things that we know from the TV show and things that we know from the original comics. And the reality is, if the original comics were as popular with everyone else as they are with us, they would have still been around, right? So most people, when you really think about it, don't know the original stuff. And so it's like, to them, this is a brand new starting point. You know what I'm saying? So what I will say though is I think the original series benefit from the fact that everything had to be wrapped up quickly. Like at the most, comics got 2 issues to tell a story, right? And so we got a lot of action, but also a lot of heart in 4 issues. I said 3, 4 issues, right? Yeah. Whereas this is going to be a 6-issue story arc. And as of issue 4, we're barely getting a glimpse of Virgil in costume as Static. And like at issue 4, we're finally getting teased that the action is coming in issue 5.
Yes.
And I think that is my number one hang up with Static season 1 so far. But beyond that, the artwork is amazing. And I do like that the story they're telling is giving us different aspects. Like we're getting a lot of how does Virgil's family and friend village contribute to the person that he is. I don't know how I feel about like everyone knowing his secret identity and all of his friends trying to be like, you know, the Virgil squad and go out and fight with him. But, you know, I like that we're getting a glimpse of, okay, this is like the loving family environment he comes from, and this informs who he is. Because at the beginning of this story arc, he was like just an angry teenager. And so we're getting like, okay, that's not really who Virgil is. I just wish it wasn't going to take us a full 6 issues to get that story arc done.
That's like one of the things I think is wrong with modern comic books a little bit sometimes, and not every comic book, but is a deconstructed storytelling. You know, like where you take a story that could be shorter and you stretch it out. And I think that I'm not saying that this is like, again, like you said, character development, but I do think that if you could have compacted some of the stuff that took place in the first 4 issues, and we could have gotten a little bit more out of the series, because like we're about to wrap up season 1, right? So
yeah,
and just now is like the action, and that's just. But I'm very nitpicky too, because I've been reading comic books for so long. I think that might play a factor in that, you know.
I just feel like, you know, if this is tailored to new readers, and there's a lot that happens in all 3 of these series that makes me feel, okay, they're definitely going after an audience that didn't know about these before. Yeah. It shouldn't take this long to get to the action. Like, if you're brand new to these characters, are you going to stick around for 5 issues to see them like finally do something?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah. So overall, what would we rate Static season 1 so far? I guess 1 to 10.
I'll give it a 7.
I'm teetering between a 7 and an 8.
I'm a strong 7. I think the artwork really saves it. If it was an 8, it'd be because of the artwork. And especially with Nick Draper Ivey taking over full art duties for the next 2 issues, I have a feeling it's going to finish way stronger. And it'll probably end up around an 8 for me in totality. But as of right now, it's a strong 7, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. It's hard for me to not like it's hard. That's why it's hard for me. Like I said, between 7 and 8, because like to do that to Draper Ivey's art, it's like I'm like I don't really want to give it a 7 because he drew it. But I think that you hit it on the head. I think when we're getting a more singular artistic vision from him, as opposed to him working over layouts, I think it's for a real treat.
Yeah, I think so too. So the second series to come out, I gotta say, is the one that's like the biggest departure from the original stuff, right? And this is Icon and Rocket. So Bear's already making faces. What are your thoughts on Icon and Rocket season 1? We've gotten 4 issues of this so far as well.
I love the first issue. Honestly, it was a throwback to the original first issue. I mean, I saw the relationship and such. And again, so you got 6 issues really to tell the first 6 issues that to tell the origin story. Mm-hmm. So I like the interaction between Icon and Rocket. It's more of a mentorship. I do enjoy the art. Icon is a little bit more militant than I remember. But, you know, it does, like, I remember growing up, lots of concerns were like, you know, Icon was around during slavery. Why didn't he do anything? That was also a big question.
Right.
So these comics, they address that. What did he do?
Right.
Why did he stop? Why didn't he do more, etc.? So, I mean, that was funny addressed. So that was nice to see. Mm-hmm. Again, from what I can tell, what people know who Rocket is, you know, and that secret identity piece is like the U.S. government knows who Icon is. So, besides that, it's good. I'm enjoying it.
Word. Let's see. So, Ryan, what were your thoughts?
I mean, you know, I enjoy it. It's not. If I had to rate them, like it's my least favorite of the 3. And it's not that I think it's a bad comic. It's well written. The art's good. It is like you said, Barry, it's not the icon I remember. So, and I think that that's part of the problem. Like us reading it and being fans of the original stuff is like, we kind of have our idea of who these characters are. And when they're written, not like we perceived them before, it's a little, it's a little hard to fucking pill to swallow. Right. But it's good. It's just not, it doesn't do it for me as much as like Static and Hardware are doing it.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, I think Hardware is my favorite series so far. I think each of these has like a sort of Achilles heel, though. Like if Static is too decompressed, I feel like with Icon, I did a review of issue 1, right? Icon season 1. If you read this and then you read issue 1 from the 90s, like this, it's the same book.
Yeah.
Like it's so close to the original book that it draws like unfair comparisons, right? Like it almost feels like, all right, if Icon, the original Icon is Coke, this is like Diet Coke. This is Diet Icon. Is how this feels, right? And so I was kind of disappointed. I was like, all right, you basically retold the exact story, but what I felt like was missing was the characterization for Icon and like the us understanding why he's so different from Rocket. Because if spoiler alert, if you never read the original Icon, the big draw is Icon and Rocket are like opposites in every way. And Rocket is who kind of convinces Icon to become a superhero. So Rocket is like way younger. She's like 15. She's, super liberal. She's like, your average, around the way chick, right? She's got a good head on her shoulders. She runs with knuckleheads and so on, right? And Icon is like super buttoned up, conservative, like literally conservative, like for as far as his politics and everything. Very much like if my grandfather was going to be a superhero, he'd be Icon, right? And the whole series, at least all of what I've read so far, is them playing with that dynamic. Like Rocket is always kind of clowning on Icon for being a square. And I think it's a really good example of showing two different viewpoints and not necessarily as a caricature, right? A lot of times when you see two different viewpoints now, it's this one is clearly bad and this one's clearly good. I felt like with Icon, you got kind of that dichotomy and you're like, okay, I can see his point here. I can see her point here. And I think it was just really well done. So going into these Milestone Returns titles, I was like, okay, Icon is going to have the most to prove. Like if Milestone's whole brand is we're diverse and we're not just diverse ethnically, we're diverse like in every sense of the word, then Icon's going to be the book out of these three that really proves that. And I think what was, missing from this was that it was just like, I felt like this is where you miss Dwayne McDuffie's presence the most. And that's no knock to anyone else. It just is an appreciation for what he brought to the table when he was here.
I mean, he brought so much more than just the writing of his comic books. If you read the editorials in those old issues, like that was just, if you weren't reading those, you were missing the full product, I believe, and he was such a talented writer and he just, I mean, again, not a knock about anybody writing the new books, but I do think that his presence is missed for sure.
All right. Do you guys think that Dwayne is pretty much a very, very, very hard act to follow?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he was one of them. And I think, by everyone's accounts, when it comes to the formation of Milestone, it started as, let's make Black comics, right? And it's Dwayne that comes and says, okay, it's not just going to be Black comics and we're not just going to like play into traditional stereotypes or roles, but we're going to show the world how it really is. So we're going to bring in other sexualities, we're going to bring in, there was trans people in the original Milestone series in 94. Yep. Like that's crazy, right? And so it's Dwayne that adds that layer to it. And I do think that without that, it's kind of, I wouldn't go as far as to call it a rudderless ship, but there certainly is a bit of grounding that I think is missing.
I agree. I do agree with that for sure. I mean, it definitely, those original titles definitely felt more grounded than the ones we're getting now. While they did tie into the Black Lives Matter movement, and I felt they did it in a way that didn't feel preachy, much like how nothing they did in the original books felt preachy. I do feel like it's that element of making it feel like that could be like your neighborhood, right? Like or two neighborhoods over. It doesn't necessarily have that same effect, I think.
Yeah, like Icon and Rocket season 4, that's the first time we get like a real voice for the neighborhood that Rocket lives in.
Right.
Man,
that was a great issue for me. I really enjoyed that issue.
You liked it? My issue was the dialogue. I felt like everybody in that book spoke like they were in a Tiffany Haddish movie.
Sorry.
That's kind of how it felt to me. And no knock to Tiffany Haddish. And, you know, ironically, she and Reggie have a good relationship. But I think Reggie writing for like TV and film and, you know, having that traditional Black audience like House Party and so on, all the projects that he's produced, I think that really showed through here. Like all of a sudden, it felt like a I want to be Black book versus like, this is just a regular neighborhood that features Black people who have different thoughts and opinions. That was heavy, but that's how I felt about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so far, what are we rating Icon and Rocket out of 10?
I don't want to be the first one to go. I'll say it. I'll say it. I would grade it lower than Static, in my opinion. I'm closer to, like, if I was bordering on 7 and 8, I'm bordering on 6, 7 for Icon and Rocket. It's just I don't connect to it. Like, and I recently reread the original, so I'm like I'm comparing it, and it's what else can I do, really? You know, if I'm reading both. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't have that same effect that the original first arc of Icon had for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, again, I feel like it really invites itself to that comparison.
Yeah, when you redo the first issue, you're basically redoing it. So yeah.
Right. One thing that really works for it, and that's why I said everything that has like an Achilles heel but a really good strength. The art in Icon, if you're looking for like traditional superhero art, like really great colors, really good action, really good composition, this is that book. Like, I mean, look at the action on these pages. Oh wait, did I not? Oh yeah, it's here. So it's like it's really, really good. Doug Braithwaite is doing like amazing work. Like, look at Rocket here. Like, it just looks good. But yeah, some of the voicing and the overall fact that it's not as nuanced as I feel like it could have been, specifically in, you know, comparison to the original, it's probably a strong 6.5 for me so far. But what I will say, though, is they're telling a story that you did not get in the original.
No.
Like, if the first issue was like, oh, let's just step by step retell this, but like with less calories, from issue 2 onward, it's like, issue 2 is like, yo, this is not my Icon. Like, what is this? Right. And then issues 3 and 4, you're like, okay, I'm down for the ride. Like, what's happening? Like, I need to see this through. So it's exciting once you get past the fact that it's not the original Icon.
Yeah, agreed.
So for me, yeah, 6.5 would be right. I mean, I do like seeing more action with Icon. His personality is different than what I'm used to, but it's not my Icon.
Word. Rodney says he's late, but he's enjoyed Icon and Rocket as well as Hardware so far. He still got most of his original Icon run. And let's see. Nick's got Zombie. Wait, what? Oh, he thought that was going to be next instead of Blood Syndicate. And they're like, yeah, Zombie needs to make a comeback. But yeah, so yeah, I think a strong 6.5. But like I said, I think if I look at it as a standalone, I'm probably giving it a 7. But it's hard for me to view it as a standalone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and so that brings us to the last one, which is Hardware. Like I said, easily my favorite out of the 3. The only knock to me is we've only got 2 issues so far.
I know, fucking A.
The delays.
Honestly, Hardware feels like Hardware. I have no concerns. No, like I'm not even trying to compare it to the previous one. This is Hardware. It
Right.
continues on. The art, that's my boy.
Yes.
Yeah. The so Hardware is written by Brandon Thomas, who, if you don't know, Brandon Thomas is the writer. He's writing a lot of stuff for DC right now.
Mhm.
He's doing all the Aquaman, Jackson Hyde stuff. They just announced a new Aquaman series.
Correct.
It's coming out next year. But yeah, so Brandon Thomas, I didn't know who he was until I read Excellence.
Yes.
And
So dope.
man, is Excellence just like a great series. But yeah, Hardware is written by Brandon Thomas, and the art is by Dennis Cowan, who, you know, not only is like a co-founder of Milestone, the originator of the Milestone idea, but Dennis Cowan is who designed all of the original Milestone characters. But it's not just Dennis Cowan. Like that, first of all, Dennis Cowan's a legend. But Dennis Cowan is being inked by Bill Sienkiewicz, who easily can, like, you know, just do his own book. Like, just give Bill Sienkiewicz, like, the fact that those two are a tandem is just insane. And you guys can see straight away, like, this art is just great. And if you're familiar with Dennis Cowan's work, I think Bill Sienkiewicz's pencils add a lot to it. Like, I never want to see these two apart from each other anymore.
Agreed.
Yeah, they definitely they have a really good working. I mean, I think he described it as like he can leave some stuff very rough, and Bill just knows how to finish it. He knows what Dennis wants done to his art. You know, like to have that kind of relationship where you don't even have to verbalize it. I mean, look, we're seeing it on the page. It's the to me, it's the best book of the line. And I could be biased because I I'm a huge fan of Dennis Cowan, and Brandon Thomas is one of my favorite writers in comics right now. You mentioned Excellence. I mean, I remember reading that first issue and being blown away. Oh shit, Dennis!
Say something nice.
I have nothing but nice things to say about it, but it is. It's the best. It is the best of the line. I think it has such a great energy and like such a fast pace, like breakneck pace, in terms of like the story that we're getting. And even though there's only 2 issues, it's just phenomenal. You know, it
Yes,
really
fleshed
is.
out.
Yes.
Again, my only knock on this book is that there's only 2 issues so far.
Yeah.
But first of all, we talked about how the absence of Dwayne McDuffie, we're feeling it in some of these books. This Hardware, number 1, opens up with the parakeet reference.
Yes,
I know. I love that.
Right? Like word for word and it's such a beautiful tribute. Like, this book is awesome. First of all, I'm just going to leave it on this panel because look at this. Like,
it's amazing. I know.
This is beautiful. Now, so Dennis says he's working on issue 4 right now, which is awesome. I can't wait to see it because, and I called it. I'm gonna go ahead and toot my horn here. I called it. I said Hardware has the potential to be the sleeper hit between Brandon Thomas's writing and that art team. Like, this can easily be the best book in the line, and so far it is, without question. So Bear, how do you feel about it? Because you said you for a lot of these you were like, this is not my milestone.
This is my milestone. This is Hardware. This is, you know, it's perfect. I have no complaints. They can't do anything more than just make a 3rd or 4th season. That's all that they need to do for me, and I'm happy. Yeah,
It's flawless.
it is
to me.
Perfect victory.
And I think, but again, like, of all of the 3 titles, right? Dennis is the only founder You know, like, so like he has that energy that he's bringing. He helped create this world, and he's helping bring it back to all of us again. And like, you can tell, dude, he's having a blast working on this book, because every single panel, every single page is just, it's perfect to me.
Like, Hardware feels like a love letter to the original in a way that the others don't necessarily like. And again, you don't want to retread old ground. You want to do something new. You want to capture a new audience, different tastes and different attention spans. And I think it shows, because like if you watch interviews, Dennis has been on record like Hardware is his favorite. Like, everybody's like, oh, I want to see like a return of Static. Dennis is always like, I need to see Hardware, right? Dennis says Hardware might be the most hardcore Milestone. And absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, and it's funny because if you want like a distillation of what Milestone represented in the 90s, Hardware is the book to look at, right? Like, Hardware issue 1 tells you everything you need to know about what this company is and what direction they're going in and what they bring to comics. And it's the same this time around. Like, it really captures the spirit well. And I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot, Dennis. One day we're gonna have to sit down and do one of these one-on-one. This is gonna be amazing. If you're down, of course.
Well played.
But yeah, so Hardware so far is my favorite. Now, one thing we haven't done so far is to really kind of give description for people who haven't read these titles and aren't familiar with these characters. All right, it's on the record. I put it on the screen just so everybody else can see. He says, okay, let's do it. Man, I am so excited. I'll hit you up. But yeah, so he said send him the link. Yo, this cowan joins this stream right now. We'll have to plan it out. We'll have to plan it. But I'll send my bad, Bear. My bad. All right.
I'm gonna take a chance, man. Come on, man.
I'm gonna send this link to your Instagram DM, Dennis, if you're free and don't mind jumping on real quick. It would make Bear's day.
Let's see, how old am I again? 30 years?
Dude, Dennis should join. We should do one of these when Hardware 3 drops.
Yeah.
Midway through season 1, and then we can all jump on and talk the book again. That'd be cool. Then we could ask questions to him about the book.
I think that would be awesome. I think that's the way to go. Oh yeah, Ryan, I know you got to leave soon. So do you have any like final thoughts, or what are you rating Hardware?
A 10.
A 10.
I didn't even hesitate. I thought it was I like Static, but Hardware was the one I was looking forward to the most from the minute it was announced. Like, there was no question in my mind. Hardware was always, of the original line, like, it was my favorite book.
Yeah.
And I like Static. Don't get me wrong. I love the original Static. John Paul Leon, like, rest in peace. Also him and, Dwayne McDuffie, what they did with that book, with that first issue. And I'll say this, every first issue Milestone came out with was fire. Yeah. Every single one came out strong. And I think that of the first issues on this go-round, Hardware came out with that same energy. So, like, I remember putting it down and I was like, yes, dude. I'm like, when's the next? Like, oh, that was the only one where I'm like, when is issue 2 coming out? How much longer do I have to wait? So this wait between issue 2 and 3 has been very, very difficult. But I think I get why they started with Static, and I'm glad that they capped it with Hardware, because Hardware, I think, is the sleeper hit of all of the books. I think to me, it's the strongest, both in writing and in art.
I agree. Dennis is here. I'm about to make Bear's day. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hangout, Mr. Dennis Cowan.
Well, make Bear's day.
What's up, Dennis?
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hangout.
So,
Mr. Dennis Cowan. Well, make Bear's day.
Yeah.
So Dennis, you have headphones.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Dennis Cowan.
We got a
yeah.
So Dennis, you have head. Grab my headphones too.
I love how stoked you look, Barry. By the way,
I'm hey, you met this guy.
I love the look on your. I know, but it's awesome. Look,
It's
you're
like-
so stoked.
Dude, this is like a dream for me, man.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people in comics, dude. Hands down.
Yeah, we're all getting headphones.
Oh,
And hopefully, because Dennis looks frozen on my side.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
frozen for sure.
Okay. So,
I just want to say hello to him before I dip out.
okay.
I know my boy Evan's really upset about this now.
And you said he's not able to access the link?
No, he said he's having problems with the hotel internet. He's trying to get on.
That hotel Wi-Fi. All right, so Dennis just dropped off. He'll probably be back in shortly. This is so impromptu, but I'm so excited.
Pretty dope that he fucking. I mean, that's him though. That's what's cool. Is he's like, all right, and he just jumped in.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Thanks a lot for that, Ryan. Hey, that was the deal. You jump off. You bring this in.
Yeah, dude.
That was the deal. He's not back yet. When he comes back, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, so while we're waiting for Dennis, I'll say this. We need to give like a kind of an introduction to these characters. So again, Static is, everyone knows who Static is because, you know, the TV show's out. If you haven't watched it ever, you should. It's really good. It's produced by Dwayne McDuffie and Dennis Cowan.
Correct.
So there's a lot of the stuff from the original comics that made its way into the TV show. It's a great watch even now. There's 4 seasons. They're all on HBO Max right now. But Static is kind of like the Spider-Man analog. Like if you like Miles Morales, you love Static. So Dennis is back. He's just got to connect his microphone and stuff.
So question, do you ever think Miles was basically Virgil?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
100%.
Absolutely.
For sure.
It's like
That's
Miles,
why I said
Milestone.
Dude, there was a gap too, right? Like, imagine, like, if Static was around, do we even get Miles Morales? But there was that void that needed to be filled, I think. And I think that that's where Miles, you know, kind of took that place.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if Static's around, you don't necessarily need Miles. Like,
Right.
In a lot of ways, they're the same character, except, you know, a lot of people, you know, rightfully or not, see Miles as just like, oh, this is Black Peter Parker. It's just a clone. Okay, Dennis is here. Let's see if this is working this time.
Rightfully or not.
All right, one more time.
Miles is just like, oh, this is Black Peter Parker. It's just a clone.
Everyone can see and hear you.
Okay, Dennis is here. Let's see if this is working.
See and hear you.
Is this working now?
All right, one more
It's
time.
working. I'm still getting
Black Peter Parker. It's just
still
a
getting
clone.
feedback.
Everyone can see and hear you.
Okay, Dennis is here. Let's see if this is working.
Is this working now?
All right, one more time.
If you've got a like just some
Hear
ear.
you. Okay, Dennis is here. Let's see if this is working.
Is this working now?
All right, one more time.
If you got from the stream. Okay, it's not echoing anymore. Oh, you're frozen.
My goodness.
It's
It's having some hardware issues.
Yeah.
hard.
No pun intended.
That is
My
great.
dad, man, puns every day.
Yeah. All right. Well,
You got Joe. Drop.
I do have to drop off. Make sure you tell Dennis I said what's up.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you guys for setting this up, dude. This was a lot of fun. I definitely think we should make this a regular thing. I think it was a blast talking with you guys and kind of meeting you somewhat in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down to do it again.
All right, cool.
If nothing else, we'll do it when all the series wrap up again.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, cool. Well, guys, have a good one, and hopefully Dennis gets back on there. Tell him I said hi.
Okay.
Sounds good, right?
All right,
Okay.
guys. Late. Yeah, dude. All right, cool. Well, guys, have a good one, and hopefully Dennis gets back on.
I'm back.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys.
Um,
Later, Dennis.
Later.
All right, cool. Well, guys, have a good one, and
all right.
hopefully Dennis gets
So
back
I'm back.
we're still getting the echo, but I'm gonna roll with it.
Later.
Cool. Well, guys, have a good one, and
Let's see. Yeah, the only thing that will fix the echo is if you have headphones.
Later. Cool. Guys, have a good one, and
That way we're not hearing the stream from your speakers. Let's see.
Why is this a weird echo?
Because it's your microphone is also picking up your speakers. So it will just if you got some headphones, that would be great because that'll catch. The microphone is also picking up. And I'm gonna mute him for a second, so we don't keep getting the echo.
Yeah. Let me try to reach out to Evan again one more time.
Oh, wait. Keep getting the echo. Okay.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't have. Reach out to Evan again one more time.
Oh, wait. Keep getting the echo. So, okay. He can't. All right. And so you said what's going on with Evan?
Since the hotel Wi-Fi is having some issue with that, so no idea what's going on right now.
Gotcha.
Get hold of them.
Cool. This is awesome. This is awesome. Technical difficulties and all. Like,
I know. It's like I'm a fanboy.
Listen. This was worth all the time I spent trying to find a font that matched closely the Milestone Returns logo. I didn't quite get it, but it's close.
Yeah.
This is awesome. But yeah, so all right, so Ryan,
so you're doing the backstory. So
yeah, we're doing backstories. So static is static. Static is like, we got static. Icon. Well, I talked about the backstory of Icon. So Icon and Rocket, they're a duo. And in the original, Rocket kind of convinces Icon to be a superhero. Icon is an alien from another planet who crash lands onto Earth. And okay, let's see. So Dennis is back. All right. Oh wait, it's muted. He's got his mic muted himself. Okay. So yeah, Dennis, if you find headphones, that'll be the best way to go about it. Cool. This is awesome. So
yeah, I'm going to switch locations. I'm going to get kicked out from here.
Cool. So I'll take him off the screen while he's getting ready. But yeah, so Icon's basically like a Superman analog. So he's an alien from another world, crash lands onto Earth. His spaceship, the technology allows him to take the form of whatever the first life form that finds him is. And he happens to be discovered by a slave on a plantation. So Icon takes the form of a, black person, a black baby, and is raised as a slave in the South, right? Now, obviously, because Icon's an alien, he doesn't age as nearly as quickly as we all do. So he lives life, and because he doesn't age, what he does is he basically kind of fakes his death and reappears as his own grandson a few times. So anyway, he's living his life, his cushy life as a lawyer in Dakota, kind of oblivious to some of the greater struggles of the black people of the day. And Rocket, who, like I said, is a troublemaker, runs with troublemakers. She's like, she's the around the way girl, who's like a lot smarter than all the people around her, right? And she's trying to rob Icon. Her and her friends try to rob Icon's house. He's home and stops it, right? He stops the robbery. And when he does, he displays his powers. And with his powers on display, Rocket's like, wait, like you got all these powers and you're not like helping the community. Like you need to be a superhero. You could inspire people. You could be.
First thing that came to her mind, it wasn't more like, shoot, I got to get out of here. It's like, wait, whoa.
Right. And so the original Icon series is really Rocket's story. It's narrated by Rocket of how she convinced Icon to be a superhero and allow her to be the sidekick, and how they just, solve the community's problems through their heroics. All right, are we good? I don't hear that.
We can try again.
Yes, we're good now.
Oh my goodness.
And
yeah, let's try again.
Again,
welcome. Don't mind my messy office. God.
Oh, it's all good, man. I just throw all my trash right in front of the camera so nobody can see it.
Right?
It's still here.
This shit over.
So for those of you guys who are in the chat who may not be familiar, we are now talking to Dennis Cowan, who is like I said, the originator of the Milestone idea, one of the co-founders of the company, and currently drawing Hardware season 1.
And just dropped in, not expecting to be anywhere like on any kind of camera, which is why I look the way I look, but you get what you get.
Man, I really appreciate you stopping by. This is
Amazing.
like the best case scenario.
I dig that hat, man. What is that?
Raptors.
All right, right on. Look at you.
So man, it's like ever since I saw Rebirth of the hat down, the look. Like,
Right. You just like rock that look now.
for the rest of my life.
Yeah, man.
In my grave.
We need Milestone merch. We need Milestone hats.
There'll be some Milestone merch, Milestone masks, Milestone hats, hoodies.
Oh man,
sweatpants. I'm like, I want that TMT shit like Floyd Mayweather does, like that TMT logo.
Yes.
I want that Milestone like matching tracksuits with the logo in it, stuff like in red and gold.
I'd buy that. Yo, it's the red and gold, like the like those original Letterman jackets.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That would be awesome.
Yes,
that would be awesome. So there's a lot of people in the chat that are just super excited that you're here. I think no one is more excited than Nick Goltra. Nick told us earlier that he has a collection, a huge Milestone collection. He's got 35 copies of Static #1. Not for sale, of course.
Oh, he's gonna just donate them to
what does he want me to do with it?
He just wants you to see it, apparently.
Just check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
You happen to look at it. Oh my God.
And Nick says he needs a hat and
hoodies. Hat and hoodies. Yes, you'll see. You'll see.
That's exciting.
We're getting all that stuff ready now.
Man. So tell us about, if you don't mind, the journey to bring Milestone back. Because this has been in the works for a very long time, but now it's happening. I can only imagine how it feels, from your vantage point.
The journey to bring Milestone back actually started in like 2012. Mm-hmm. Dwayne and I had been working together briefly before he passed away. But one of the things we did not talk about was bringing Milestone back. We weren't trying to do anything like that. We're just working on different projects and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he passed, and I was with Reggie and Derek Dingle at his wake. And we're all at a memorial service. It wasn't his wake, it was a memorial service. And we're all just talking about Milestone and the legacy. Michael Davis was there. Several people were there. Mm. And we just talked about putting the band back together. So it really started in 2012. Mm. And it's not really the band because Dwayne isn't here. You don't have the Beatles without all the Beatles. Right. You just have three very talented guys who made up the Beatles, but not all of them. Yeah. But that's okay. You still go on, you do what you can with what you have in hand. So that's kind of how that was the genesis, was his passing kind of kickstarted like, wow, we don't know how long we have. We don't know what's going to happen if we don't do this now. When are we going to do this? So that's kind of how it started. It took years to bring it to fruition because anything worth doing is going to take some time. It's not going to be easy. So you can have a great idea. It's a great idea. We're going to bring it back.
Right.
And then you have to actually do it. So that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're obviously one of the co-founders of Milestone. It was a 4-person effort, 5, even back then, right? Yeah. So bringing it back, you, Reggie, I know you said Jim Lee is like instrumental. How does that even work logistically? Like, how was it more difficult than you might have imagined? Whether it's like working through, licensing the characters, and
it was more difficult because we had to work through a lot of legal issues. Mm-hmm. We had to work through legal issues with Dwayne's widow, which all worked out great. We're all happy. And then we had to, we had issues with DC. Mm-hmm. Nothing bad. It's just business. Yeah. So all that stuff takes time, Absolutely. So that was the real thing. Creatively, it wasn't really an issue, but
right. Yeah, I can only imagine, like, as a
business wise, things can get complicated really quick.
Absolutely. So one of the the groundbreaking things about Milestone originally was your relationship with DC and the way it worked, right? You guys being a fully independent company, if we're talking in music terms, which is my background, DC gave you a distribution deal, right? A P&D.
Right.
You guys own all the characters, you own everything, and they take a percentage for distributing.
Right.
So, first of all, getting that in 1992 is just is crazy at the level that you guys were able to do it. How do things work in 2020? But how do things work in 2021? Like, how important was it to kind of keep that independent spirit?
You want to be as independent as you can. I mean, the reality of the situation is Milestone and DC co-own these characters together. So we manage these properties together. One can't do one without the other, really. And it's, it's a partnership. So it hasn't been that difficult or anything, in that sense. That part is manageable. That's what we're doing. So, but what was the other part of your question?
That was really like just how important is it to you that
to maintain our independence? Yeah, we're independent, but we're also working with them. So.
And I mean, I don't think there's any problem with having a partner as powerful as DC Comics. Like,
oh no, when we started out in 1992, whenever it was, there weren't a whole lot of distribution channels. There was no online distribution. There was no web comics or anything like that. Right. The independent scene was barely Image for 6 months before we came out, right? And Dark Horse, they weren't independent. They were a comic book company. So you didn't have a lot of independent distribution things. So our thing was like, let's get with Time Warner. That makes sense, right? Like, let's go with the biggest, baddest distributors that we can find.
Right.
That's what they do. They distribute content. So.
Right. And man, distributing content, that's what you guys are doing. I mean, obviously we've got, these titles, and I left my short box over there. I literally got every cover because I had to. Ryan even hooked me up with this one that you signed.
Right.
Oh my God. Yes.
I'm very excited about that. But so we've got all the books, but you guys have announced some other things in the works as well. There's, still live action Static in the works. Michael B. Jordan signed on to produce.
Michael B. Jordan's producing that. Reggie and I are executive producers on it with Mr. Jordan. We're doing an animated feature film featuring all the your favorite Milestone characters.
Yes.
All together in ways that you may or may not expect. There's a lot of things we're doing. There's a lot of different things we're doing.
I always imagine seeing the Milestone characters like on HBO Max or something dark and gritty, live action. Give me an hour series, and that would have been amazing. But I'll take a cartoon.
Well, you never know what can happen. People are talking to us about a lot of stuff. So I have to say, we've been blessed with the amount of interest that people have shown in Milestone and Static and Icon Rocket and what we're doing. So don't be surprised what you might see in the future.
Let's come wrong. I noticed though, you guys have a lot more marketing
now than we did before.
Yes. And I think that was one of the biggest downfalls. I say that hurt Milestone. It was a product ahead of its time, but people didn't know about it.
It was ahead of its time. Right? People didn't know about it. Poor marketing in a way, but it was the marketing that was available then.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of publicity then, but it just wasn't. It didn't necessarily always translate. Well, actually, no. Here's what happened: marketing, awareness, and the downturn in the comic book market. That's what really did it. That's what really did Milestone in. When all the speculators left. And all those people who were buying multiple platinum copies of this and that and the other, when they left, everyone got hit hard. So the people who are the lowest, not on a totem pole, but if you weren't Marvel or DC or the top stuff at Image, you were suffering. So we were victims of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
as much as anything else, as much as poor marketing on DC's part, they did what they could.
Yeah. So. Dennis Cowan homaging Kane.
On what?
I said Dennis Cowan homaging Bob Kane. How fun
Yes.
is this cover?
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Oh man, I'm geeking because I just added these issues of Cobalt to my collection. I have issues
Cobalt is such a deep dive.
Yeah.
Like, talk about ridiculous. What kind of costume is that? I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I know. I was looking at that yesterday. It's like,
Yeah, it's a
How do you
whole.
reveal
I always thought Cobalt was so ridiculous. You know, like I designed him and Dwayne and I came up with him, and I still couldn't figure out why are we doing this. It was just, and now we're gonna get late. Let's give him his own book. You know.
Yo, so I was browsing the Milestone website yesterday, preparing for this interview, and came across. I don't even know when you guys added this section to the site, but there are pages from the Bible available to view on the website now. Mostly art references, not a ton of like story references for good reason. But there's a page that's on the site where you are designing the Blood Syndicate, and it's like, hey, how about making Tech 9 Latino? Because we don't have representation outside of the maid character. Like, could you talk about how important it was for you guys to really represent the world outside your window, to borrow a phrase?
For me, when I first, I came up with the idea for Milestone and called everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think it was a good idea, and I think that, well, I jump up because my son started spitting up and I come back. My son starts spitting. Go attend to your son. Oh my God.
He came back. He's good.
Yeah, right. I don't know. What was I saying? Because that
my bad. You originated the Milestone idea and you called everyone.
Right. So what was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, so I'm talking. How important was it? Because I was talking about how you brought up.
Oh, right. Okay. So so I know what I was going to say. So yes, I thought about Milestone. I thought about calling people up. I thought about the idea of doing this company, but my idea was limited in that I'm like, okay, we're going to do Black comic books with a lot of Black characters.
Mm.
Just going to be great, or whatever I thought at the time in that germ of an idea.
Mm.
Dwayne, and this is where he can come in and get a lot of credit. Dwayne was the one who really opened it up for everyone. Oh no, we have to have gay characters. We have to have trans characters. We have to have, non-binary at the time characters. We need to do, like, he really opened it up and hired the people who were like that to do the books.
Wow.
Right. So we had people who were transitioning in 1990 something. Seriously.
Yeah.
Writing our books, writing Death Wish and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Wow.
I was just like, it was an environment that was awesome. That was great. But one that I had to look up and go, what are we doing? I had like my original thing. Now we're doing gay characters and trans characters and everything else. Okay. But that was Dwayne. That was Dwayne really busting it wide open. If you're going to do one, do everything.
How much did that scare you at the time?
Nothing scared me because we were so busy just trying to get it done. So it wasn't scary. Did it make you pause? Yeah, when you had a chance to catch your breath, it made me pause and go, well, what are we doing? What? And then we you just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. You're saying like you guys had, no time to really reflect on what was being done.
No one sat around and thought about let's think about what we're doing and what we've done and how it's going to reflect and influence society. And are we reflecting society accurately? No one never thought anything like that. We never said that.
So you guys, you come out the gate with 4 titles and then you expand. You get Zombie, you get the Shadow Cabinet, you get Cobalt. You got all that.
Right.
You're bringing, Heroes comes later. You're bringing in so much talent. Like when you go through the list of artists who like really got their start or made their names at Milestone, John Paul Leon, Tommy Lee Edwards, right? Joe Illidge is still editing comics.
Crisscross
is on Green Lantern right now. I'm mad I haven't got to the shop to pick up issue 8. But yeah, Crisscross on Heroes right here.
Yep. J.H. Williams, a lot of people.
so many people. How important was it to find new talent and give them?
It was vitally important. It was vitally important. Our thing was always to develop new talent, to bring in new talent, develop new talent. John Paul Leon and, you know, the guy took over the guy took over hardware after me, who's awesome. Umberto
Ramos.
Right? Who's a superstar, superstar.
Yep.
His first gig was with Milestone.
Yep.
Wow.
Right? So we were dedicated to finding talented people of color, you know, to do our books and also to work with established talent. So if you remember, we had all my friends, Walt Simonson, Howard Chaykin, Bill worked with us all the time. You know, people who, you know, you wouldn't necessarily think would be down with Milestone were very down with Milestone. And it was always a combination of the new guys and the established talent. It's still like that today.
You know,
I'm just old guy now, and everyone else is the new talent. So
some of my favorite covers, besides your covers on Hardware, because I feel like Hardware had the best covers, but those Walt Simonson covers for the Shadow War crossover,
brilliant.
Static number 8 is like my favorite.
Brilliant. It's so good. I wish I would have drawn it. I'm serious. Like I look at his hardware going, okay, this is how I have to draw hardware.
Right. So let's see. All right. So yeah, we're talking about bringing new talent in, and that was important to Milestone then, and it's clearly important to Milestone now, right? And I think the talk of the town right now is Nick Draper Ivy.
Yeah, he's bad. Isn't he great? He's great. Man,
this stuff is amazing. I remember when I saw the character designs, I covered it in a video, and I was like, okay, I can't wait to see what comes out of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share a scene from Static Season 1 real quick.
Oh, he's brilliant. We love Nicholas.
And he put out there just recently that he's gonna be working on the movie as well, the animated feature. That I'm excited about.
That is true.
So let me see.
We're bringing him aboard. I want him to do as much as he possibly can.
Promote.
Let's talk about how this man has eye surgery and then goes and starts drawing Static the day after.
Yeah, right.
So this is just one scene from Static Season 1, the first issue. Like, look at this rendering, look at the backgrounds. I'll tell them every time he goes into the hallway for this school, it reminds me of Juice movie. But I mean, look at, we've got Robert Hawkins here looking a lot like Dwayne.
Yeah.
There's so much here that's just like, it's nods to what came before, but it's completely new. Like, I love this art.
Oh man, I'm glad you like it. We're doing Static and Icon and Rocket and Hardware for a new audience. Mm-hmm. I mean, Hardware definitely has the older school flavor just because I'm doing it, you know. And Brandon, who we love, such an awesome writer, has certainly captured the spirit of what we did, but I think he's also bringing it into the future.
Yeah.
But the rest of the books, it's important for us to do new stories, to talk to a new audience. So that's where people like Nicholas comes in, Doug Braithwaite, who's an established talent, but oh my God, what he's doing on Icon and Rocket is on a whole other level stuff. To me, he's the real master of all of us. He's so good that I write him fan letters. I do. I'm like, Doug, you're so great. I don't know what to do. I just can't compete.
Look at this. Look at this action.
Everything is just brilliant.
Like,
just as good as any of the top artists working today. Easily. And he's working with us, and we're so happy. But it's all about now. It's all about also assuming, I heard some of the criticism about how the books aren't like the old books and so on and so forth. But we approach it like this is somebody's first issue.
Exactly.
Right.
They've never seen our characters. They've never seen Hardware or Icon or Stat, nothing. They don't know nothing about it. They're just picking up for the first time.
Right.
So how do you keep those people and get them? And you have to always assume this is always going to be somebody's first issue.
Right.
right? So we have to keep your interest and get people who have never seen this before. Right. So that's always the balancing act. But you can't necessarily do that if you're always recycling old stuff or just talking about 90s stuff that you guys would know, but anyone picking up the book now wouldn't even understand.
Right.
Try to pick up those old stories. Now I'm going to pick it back up. Wow.
I love my old stories. I do. Like
I know you do.
But
that's why those books exist. That's why we're coming out with the 13,000 page
compendium.
Yep.
Yes, that's just for you.
So
that's okay. So I'm still gonna. I still will support Milestone. I'm still gonna follow new stuff. This is for the kids in this generation, and everybody else. Go for it.
So
it's for a new generation.
It's
also for you. But I'm doing hardware for you guys.
Word.
Thank you for that.
So I just put on the screen.
Thanks for giving the old head something, man. I understand all this new stuff.
So everybody can see the Milestone Compendium is available for pre-order right now.
Yes.
Retail price $59.99. You can probably find it discounted. Our channel sponsor has it up for sale for $45. You pre-order it. It comes out February 1st. And like I said, this takes you through like the first couple of story arcs, basically all the way through the Shadow War crossover. If you never read the original Milestone material, this is the way to jump in. Certainly is going to be less expensive than trying to find those single issues on eBay or something. Having them all in one spot in one book, that book is going to be huge, by the way. A 1,300 page compendium, that is huge.
But no hardcover.
No hardcover. I don't think so.
No,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's what I would love.
I'm looking forward to getting it, but I'm like, what am I going to do with all that?
1,300 pages is a lot. It's a lot, but it's like 6 separate stories. So I think it'll be an easy read. And it's a lot easier than pulling out all my single issues. I got to take them out the bags and boards.
DMC.
Oh man, that is dope. The streets never forget.
I have to get that one.
Go buy it.
Get that and get my Prince copy as well.
I did this cover for them. I love DMC. I love Daryl.
Yes.
Man, so they asked me to do this. And I did. So I'm very happy with this cover. I don't get a chance to talk about it much, or I haven't put it up on my website or anything, but
that cover is great.
It's dope, right?
It is. I gotta hold on. Let me go ahead and search for it so I don't forget.
Please never forget. Yeah, it's on DMC 3.5.
Okay.
All right. I'm definitely
right now.
That is awesome.
You like it?
I love that.
Cool. Classic.
So since we're here, right? I'm all fanboying out like we're never gonna talk again ever. But
yeah, we may not. So get it all in now.
Right. So you just showed off the DMC cover.
Sure.
I was drawing the Liquid Swords album.
Here's what happened. That's Studio X. What was that? 95, 94?
Let's see, Liquid Swords by Jizza, released in 95. So yeah.
Okay, released. So they came up to the studio 93 and 94. Basically, I just got a call from Jizza's management or from the record label saying that they were interested in me doing this album cover. Would I be interested in meeting with Jizza? I was a Public Enemy fan. I was not a Wu-Tang Clan fan. I was all down with Chuck D and all that, but I'm like, oh, okay, I'll meet with them. Why not?
Right.
So Jizza shows up with his manager, nicest guy in the whole world. This is like, he's a superstar at this point. Nice guy in the whole world. Comes up, tells me the concept. We just kick it and talk about what we could do. He leaves. I draw up a bunch of stuff with a Pentel marker, some concepts, right? Concepts, guys in, big giant Wu-Tang shirts with swords and fighting a motorcycle dude on a chessboard. So I drew all this stuff, and the Jizza comes back to my office. And I remember him calling his mom. No, Mom, I'm up at Dennis Cowan's studio. No, I'll be home, blah, blah, blah. It was so cute. But I was like, damn, he's calling his mom. So anyway, I lay out all this stuff. I show him the character designs of the kids, which is on the album cover. You'll see, and that centerpiece with them on the chessboard. I showed him that, and I think I showed him a sketch for the cover. So he looks at it, loves it all. This is all dope. I love it. I love it. Okay, no. Okay, so this is it. I said, no, this is the sketch I'm showing you. No, he goes, no, this is it. I said, no, this is the sketch. I'm going to draw this. I'm going to draw it, like pencil it up, get it in. He goes, no, I like this right here. I'm like, oh my God. So all that stuff that's on that album cover, the interior art, the back cover with the kids standing there in their little Wu-Tang clothes and shit, all that kind of crude drawing, that's because there were sketches that were done to show him what it would look like. They were never intended for anybody to see.
Wow.
So they took it and printed it for the world to see.
Wow.
And I'm to this day, I'm mortified because I'm like, it's not even really the right drawings. All these is a hip hop classic. And I'm still like obsessed with like, gee, I wish they would have let me just do it like, yeah. But, it was a great experience. I mean, the cover was one we got to actually draw and finish the cover. So that was good. It was a great experience. It was a great experience. I would show you my gold record, but wait, hold on. Let's check it out. Want to see a gold record?
That's crazy.
You think I'm kidding, right?
Yo, that is awesome.
So when you do a hip hop legends album, you get a gold record.
That's dope.
With the CD.
Yeah.
The cassette, the CD. It's crazy.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So for those in the audience who have no idea what we're talking about right now, I'm going to go ahead and show you. Jizza's album, Liquid Swords. Jizza's a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. And let's see.
Brilliant.
So this was the press kit. This is the CD booklet.
Yeah. You see that? All that stuff was all rough drawings.
Wow.
That is not like finished art. That was done with a Pentel marker. You could see it.
Yeah.
If you look really closely, it's very kind of crude looking.
That's crude.
That's what I want. Yeah. No, for me, it's very not. What I do. I like the guy choking the other guy, though. That I'm looking at.
Word. Yo, I love. Wow, I didn't even. Yeah, the kid is literally being choked by this man.
Yeah, no, there's you gotta really look. This being choked, chainsaws.
Wow.
There's
a kid in a headlock over here.
Yeah, the headlock. There's that lady dragon, fox lady with the kid with the thing around his neck. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking.
Wow.
But again, since it was all concept,
it
didn't matter. It wasn't going to be a real thing. It turned out to be the thing.
But it's like, then what's crazy? I mean, Wu-Tang's legacy is cemented at this point, right?
Yes.
And they have such a reputation for being like the mythological, like they might as well have been comic book characters. So
right. They took a lot from comic books.
Yeah. All right. Between comic books and like kung fu movies.
Yep.
And this is just like the perfect combination of those two ideas. And it's going to live on forever. Like, it's amazing.
Yes. There it is. So
let's see. So we do have a couple of questions from the chat if you're down to answer.
A couple more questions, then I'm in a jet.
Okay, cool. So Ben Uncle says it is cool to ask about non-milestone.
Sure.
I want to hear Dennis talking about his experience of working with Denny O'Neil on The Question. In the recent Black Label Question series, he referenced that Denny might have been a little bit of a tough partner.
He was tough. He was great, but he was tough. There was a lot of tough love. I've spent the whole time drawing Denny's scripts and never felt that like I ever got it right. But it wasn't like I was looking for pats on the back or anything like that. But between him and Mike Gold, my editor, it was an old school way of doing comics, which didn't really bother me that much. I wasn't like complaining, but it was tough. It was like make your deadlines, get it done.
Yeah.
Do research, use your reference, do this, do that, and I never could quite get it right for them. But they were used to working with Neil Adams and Garcia Lopez and all these other people, so their standards were high, as they should have been. It wasn't a bad experience. It was a learning experience, but it was
Yeah.
a tough learning experience. So I often say when people talk about the question and how much they love it, I like it now, but when I was working on it, it was just deadlines. It was just like, okay, you want me to do Dr. Zero? I can't wait to do Dr. Zero. I'll do anything else but the question. It was 3 years of that. So
Wow.
and the annuals, right?
Nice.
Like question annuals.
Shameless plug. They are releasing an omnibus, a huge hardcover of your question series. It's coming out in April.
Are they really?
Yeah, it's up for it's in the catalog now. It's coming
Let
out.
me see. Get out of here. I had no idea. I'm
Uh,
serious. I had no idea.
Okay, I'll share it. I'll share the
Look,
list.
mine made it. Let's see.
So, and I can't wait. I love these huge hardcovers. So yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? I had no idea. Oh no, I blanked it out of my mind because it says the question by Dennis O'Neill, not Dennis O'Neill and Dennis Cowan.
Oh man.
Oh,
It's like, oh, is he the only one who did this?
Man.
Let me see. Do they give me any credit?
They do give you credit here in the solicit.
Yeah, and Dennis Cowan, but the it's fine.
Word.
Yeah. Okay. Now, yes, I do. Okay. Wow.
So I'm excited.
Okay. So I have two like giant competing things coming in.
Yeah, man. And I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So Fourth Wall Comics says he's seen a lot of excitement for the Milestone Initiative. I know that the deadline just wrapped for submissions.
Yeah.
How's that been going?
Amazingly well. We've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of submissions. So yeah, I'm not going to give you the exact number, but I'm not exaggerating. It's been a lot. It's been overwhelming.
I believe it. I don't write and I don't draw. I was like, if they had submissions for YouTube channel, then sure. But I mean, this works for me.
Yeah. No, it's been the response has been great. And we're looking forward to, meeting everybody in February, the final applicants who will be chosen, and just it's going to be awesome. So it's been going great. It's been going great, really. In all honesty, it's been overwhelming. In fact,
nice. February is going to be a big month for you guys. So
it's going to be a big month.
The big Milestone Compendium's coming out.
Yep.
The Static Season 1 hardcover is also out February 1st.
Yep.
And then you guys just announced Black History Month special.
Yes. We're doing a Black History Month special, 80-page giant. Remember when you was like growing up? No, because this is before when I was growing up, we had 80-page giants. We had 120-page giants and 80-page giants. And just these thick comic books that you would get, and they would be just like, it was everything you could ever want. So we're like, why don't we do an 80-page giant, but a Black History Milestone joint, where we have our characters and we approach Black history in a different way. So
looking forward to that.
So like, let's do it. So we're doing it. And we've lined up a bunch of creatives, lined up some great writers. There are some very talented artists who I can't wait to have to work with Milestone. Like these are my guys. I can't wait to have them work with us. Guys who mentored me, guys who everyone just, I'm very happy. Wow. So you'll see, this is going to be something else.
Wow. I think this is going to be the last question we got here.
Okay.
Says, Dennis, any more back in the day artists coming along for anything new like Noel?
Like Noel. We love Noel.
Yes, we do.
You know what? I'm going to ask Noel if she'd be interested in doing some more stuff. Noel just colored a cover of mine about a year ago. We did it for Jeff Lemire. It was a Black Hammer cover.
Oh man.
Right? Like it was one of those like Squadron, something Black Hammer Squadron. You can find it. But they're all lined up. They're all lined up on the cover, and it's like this black dude with his hat off. Noel colored that cover.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
What is it called? What was it called? Black Hammer.
From the World of Black Hammer.
Right.
3.
Right.
Looks like Red Tails a little bit. Hold on, let me share this.
There it is. Yep. It's Noel.
That is
I always
awesome.
like that. That's dope.
It is.
You don't have to say that's pretty dope.
That is dope. What's funny is I'm launching a website. It launches next Friday called Comics Are Dope because I've been describing everything as dope for like a year. So I figured that was a better way to go about it. Danny Quick is really enjoying Milestone books, old and new. He's on TikTok. He did a review of Icon and Rocket season 1 yesterday, and then he did issue 2 today.
Oh wow! Okay.
He's the Ace Blade on TikTok. But he said you're truly an inspiration for us new creators. I know he's a writer.
Oh great, thank you. So nice of you,
Super
Danny
cool.
Quick. That's a great name.
It's a dope name. Dennis, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
On literally no notice, we put up with the technical difficulties.
No worries.
You've made my day. Like I can't express how big of a fan I am. I guess like I could express it by doing a live stream about Milestone, but this has just been awesome.
Well, I've checked out your reviews and stuff. I've seen you, Mr. BJ Kicks, so that's why I jumped on. I had to like, I'm aware of you. We're aware of you. We see you.
Man,
Reggie and I see you. Don't worry.
I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, we got to do this again sometime. There's so many questions.
Yeah, we will. We will. We'll just figure out a time. I mean, I won't get in any trouble because I'm the boss. But like I know like the publicity guy at Milestone will be looking at me like you just jumped on and didn't let us know. And Michael Schelling, this how y'all do it. This how you gonna do it now. So I got to answer to that. But other than that, it was worth it because I'm with my people.
Thank you so much for that, man.
Oh man, Bar. That's your name, Bar.
Barry, but I just go with Bar.
All right, Bar. Thank you, man.
Thanks for joining. Really,
this has been fun. We'll do it again. We'll just have to figure out a time when, like, maybe maybe we'll do it in February when all
perfect. When
comes out.
Right? Comes out.
Yeah,
season 1 will be out.
I'll see if I can get Reggie.
Okay,
we'll make it a thing.
That would be awesome. I'll send you my email address so we can.
Okay. Yeah. We'll
Thank you so
all the
much.
information. Bye.
Okay. Have a good
Bye,
one.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, man. Yo, that is insane.
Incredible.
We just interviewed
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I can die happy. I'm 30 and I got kids. I can't die, but this has been amazing.
Oh my goodness.
This is great. Nick says, "Happy Thanksgiving." Kev says, "Woo." Kev is my homie. Kevin gifted me this. Dang, I wish I had showed it to Dennis.
Oh.
This is somebody did a sketch cover on the Milestone Return 0 issue. This artist is named Brand Flakes.
Nice.
And I love this. This is now my favorite piece in my collection. But yeah, Danny, that was insane. Like, first of all, if we managed to put together a coherent interview, like, that's great. But I was such fanboying out. I hope I didn't come off like a groupie.
I did. I don't care. I don't care. 30 years, I deserve to do this here.
That is awesome. Yo, this only happened because you put it together, man. You had the idea for the stream and we made it happen.
So you had the voice.
This is crazy. This is dope. Yeah, man, that is insane. I don't even know how we wrap this stream up from there. So we were talking about
I don't know. I don't. Seriously, man. February. Come back in February.
That made my night. Yeah, man. Listen. The platform is open. February is going to be great.
So said we're gonna try to do this again. Hopefully, Evan will join us. Said Nets. I said I don't know.
Ben, I feel the same way. What is my life? Like, listen. If I think about it too much, I'll get emotional and whatnot. So, but yeah, we will. We'll make sure we get Evan on. I mean, we got a couple of months to plan it.
Yeah.
So that
I'm pretty rushed to. Yeah.
That is crazy. Let's see. Only a few people got lucky in this live stream. Once it's a bigger stream in February. Yeah. Like, can you imagine if we have time to promote this event, like this interview? It's gonna be a real treat. It's gonna be awesome. I really can't believe that just happened.
Mr. BJ Kicks, you're known.
That is
Watching you.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, guys, look, we've been streaming for almost 2 hours at this point. We interviewed Dennis Cowan. There's nothing I can follow that up with. Like I said, the Milestone Compendium is out. Whoops, wrong one. That's coming out on February 1st. You can pre-order it with our channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. The link is in the description below. If you use my coupon codes, just my name, BJ Kicks, all one word, you will get $2 off of your order and every order every time. So definitely check that out. That's the best starting point for all the original Milestone series. And, you can still get all of these in your local comic shop right now. Icon of Rocket Season 1 is out. There's 4 issues. Static Season 1 is out. There's 4 issues. Hardware with pencils by Dennis Cowan. There's 2 issues out, and those are available at your LCS right now. Hardcovers are soon to follow, so make sure you stay up on the announcements. Of course, I will have them listed at comicsaredope.com. Now, speaking of, I am running a bit of a contest, so someone is going to win this Magneto statue, courtesy of Ultimate Comics. All you got to do is visit my new website. It's called comicsaredope.com and join the waiting list. You join that waiting list. I'm going to be drawing a name out of the hat on Black Friday, so next Friday, and I will ship that to you as long as you're in the United States. If you're not in the States, I'll still ship it to you. You just have to pay for the shipping cost. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool things in the works. I can't wait to show you guys the website. Like, you've seen sneak previews, but when this launches, I'm very excited about it. I've been putting a lot of work into this website. So I can't wait for you guys to see it. And that's the show. That's it, man. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you to Organic Price Books and to Ultimate Comics for sponsoring today's episode of The Hangout. Thank you to Bear for putting this together, for coming up with the idea for us to talk about Milestone on The Hangout. Thank you to the legendary Dennis Cowan for showing up and just making our lives with his presence, right? You got anything to say? Oh, we gotta promote the group, right?
Well, yeah, Milestone fan page.
So where do they find them? How do you find the Milestone fan page?
Well, that's a good question. Honestly,
It's funny. There is a link in the description of this video that will take you to the Milestone fan group. We are the largest group of Milestone Comics fans on the internet. There's over 3,000 of us. We're just waiting for you. So I just gave you all sorts of reasons to become a Milestone fan. So if you're a fan, join the group. Tell us who your favorite character is, and we are going to make it work. The promo code for Organic Price Books, once again, is just my name, all one word, BJ Kicks. That'll save you $2 off your order, your pre-order for the Milestone Compendium. And with that, we're out. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Peace out, guys.